Well,
everything.
I'm gonna go back on your teacher comment. Like you gotta love your job. Most people don't love their job, Razi. I'll be honest with you. Work for a lot of people is a what an end
Means
still
to an
mean
end.
or means
Means
to
to an
end,
end.
whatever you call it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. So if you're gonna not like your job, you can not like your job and make $40,000. You can not like your job and make 80,000. You can not like your job and make 800,000. It's up. It's up. What up? What up? What up? What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I am Ferg. Join my co-hosts Buff and Rozzy. Fellas, what it do?
What up, though? We can just jump into it and start talking about Nottoway Plantation over in southern Louisiana. It is the largest plantation in Louisiana or in the South. Was because that thing is burning down. So the roof caved in earlier today. We're recording on Friday, and the fire department has said that they can't save it. And my response is, houses burn every day, B. So, oh well, I'm not really too much worried about it, but it's a big deal for folks who like kind of antebellum homes and those types of things. I mean, it's the largest one. Anybody who saw Django Unchained, it's the candy land of plantations, and I'm just laughing at the black people's response. It's about as intense as us caring what Donald Trump is doing while we learn new line dances. We just don't care. So
Put me in that group.
Bruh, Boots on the Ground is a good line dance. It's a fun song. It's
Can you
just the
mute him?
fan. It's the fans, bruh. It's just the
Can
fans.
you mute him? No, I mean you're not gonna. I don't do it. I don't like it.
Okay, all right. Well, we will move on then from the not caring of the antebellum home. But Orleans Parish, New Orleans, they still kind of getting it in. We had 11 people escape from a prison down there, and the way they did it is the hole that's behind the toilet, they pulled it off, and they all escaped there. 11 of them escaped through the hole, and they left a message that said "Too easy, LOL." Right above. So 9 of them are still in the wind. So they caught 2. So I just wonder what happened. Like, how did the other 2 get caught? But they've already caught 2. 9 of them still in the wind. But it was just hilarious seeing that they left a message like it's Lupin or one of the little like thrillers or something like that. So it's cool. It was just cool.
They probably caught him at the old lady house. I'm gonna stop. I mean,
real quick.
The chances everybody's gonna get caught.
Right.
So
right.
The thing about it is, if you out for a day, 2 days, what's the first thing you trying to do?
Yeah, because 3 of them on trial for murder, so they may not be
murder
home anyway. Yeah. So, but that's really all I got, man. Other than I am super excited about Superman. I saw the new trailer came out. I sent it to you guys. It looks really, really good. So I'm excited about July. Sherman was not. Cooley was just like, man, So I was surprised at that, but I'm excited for it.
Put me with Cooley.
You're not excited for it either?
I mean, the trailer did what a trailer's supposed to do. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, I don't have faith. I just said the trailer was good. The trailer looks great.
We'll see.
I mean, I think we were excited about what Wonder Woman 1983 or 84 and Flashpoint and
with Wonder Woman, that was because of the first one though.
Yeah, the first one was good. So you're like, it should be good. So Moana 2 is the same way. Moana 2 kind of sucked. I mean, nobody wants to say it, but yeah, it sucked.
I mean, what's it? I wasn't expecting anything out of either Moana.
Well, Moana 1 was really good, so I was expecting that's what I'm saying. I thought it would be good based on Moana 1, but it was not. It's probably as bad as Lion King 2. Yeah, Disney has a sharp drop off for their sequels.
Yeah, they shouldn't do sequels. They shouldn't do sequels.
Yeah, most there's always a thing that's the sequels aren't usually as good as the original. I mean, that's a whole.
Yeah,
it's hard to. I mean, it's very hard to. I mean,
what Godfather. Yeah,
Terminator.
Rocky. Terminator was better.
I
Aliens.
would say out of the Dark Knight trilogy, the second one.
The second one. Okay. Yeah.
But the fact that we have to think, considering how many movies are out there.
Well, I mean, because things have to be really, really good to get a sequel, and so I think that's the other part about it is, usually they're one and done.
They have
because
27
they don't do really well.
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, they have a core fan base because that movie honestly should have stopped at the 7.
7, probably after like
7?
3, 4.
I like 5. I like 5 with the Rock. I like 5.
I can't. There was one where they were driving. They were in Mexico and they were driving through caves. I think that's the last one.
I don't count that one. I don't count that one. I don't count that one. That's 4. I don't count that one.
You did not count that one.
Oh, it didn't happen.
2 was the
Tyrese.
Was that 2? Yeah, and then 3 was in Tokyo. So, a lot of people don't like that one.
That one kind of didn't happen either.
Yeah, I think after the 4th one, they were driving through I don't think I've seen them all. Yeah.
The one in Brazil is dope.
I believe it.
Yeah, the one in Brazil is cool. So, but that's all I got, man. So Buff's not excited for Superman, but we are.
But I'm not hating it now. I'm just saying we'll see.
Low expectations. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Speaking of low expectations, how do you feel about Ironheart? I feel like they're not gonna do
that. Track good.
It was not. And
I had to be that guy on Twitter because people was like, it's because it's a black cat. It's because it's black. I'm like, nah, it just wasn't good. I'm sorry.
It doesn't make you want to see it. It's just
I haven't even seen the trailer. I just keep hearing about it, and I think with a character that is not widely known, you gotta come correct.
And she was useless in Wakanda Forever too.
Yeah. Yeah, the way they introduced her,
she wasn't. She's the whole reason there's a movie. I mean, the whole movie's about her.
Her?
Nah.
Think about it. If she wouldn't have built that machine, explain Wakanda Forever.
I gotta watch it again, but she's useless. And I remember how they tried to make it seem like that was why, but she's useless. They need to introduce her a different way.
I mean, just like
they need to reintroduce her.
I think that's what the show's supposed to be about, right? Like they took the suit back. She doesn't have it anymore. She has to go back in.
Not interesting.
Disney doesn't have Marvel doesn't have a good track record with these shows.
Right.
They have been forgettable.
WandaVision was the last.
Loki season 2 was really, really good.
I liked Falcon and Captain, whatever it was.
Exactly.
Winter Soldier. Yeah, American and Winter Soldier. How'd you feel about Daredevil? I don't even know if we've debriefed on Daredevil.
I had high hopes for it. It kind of let me down.
Yeah, it had like 2 or 3 good episodes. And really what I think happened is the episodes in the middle were the ones that they shot before they brought the original Daredevil team back. And so I think the good episodes, like the last one where it started getting really gritty and everything, and then they did reshoots for the opening scene where Foggy and everything died. Spoiler alert, too late, but it's been out long enough. But when Foggy dies, at that point, I think those were reshoots that the original producers came back in. So I do have high hopes for season 2. I think season 2 is going to be good because of that.
This season was like a setup season.
Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember much about it. I just know Kingpin was annoying. His wife is super annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil was kind of annoying.
He wasn't really Daredevil most of the season. That was the problem. He was Matt Murdock, and it was just kind of, I don't want to see that. Like, I want to see Daredevil being Daredevil. And you didn't get that until towards the end.
So he wasn't annoying.
Matt Murdock was.
Okay. Just spoiler.
Trying not to be Daredevil.
Yeah, spoiler. He's Daredevil. In case you didn't know. All right. What you got for us, Buff?
So I thought I was rewatching Blackish, and turns out I was watching Blackish. I didn't realize how many seasons and episodes I missed. So I enjoyed watching it. That's a great sitcom. I don't think it'll ever be on anybody's list because it came out during a time when streaming started becoming very popular. So there's no more can't wait till 8 o'clock comes to catch Martin type of sitcoms anymore on networks for real. But I enjoyed it. But I do want to say, and I just want to let all black sitcoms know this, because This Is Us did this too. There are other HBCUs besides Howard. Like, I get it, but if we're gonna be honest, Howard is living off of his name. It's not even by every statistic that you use to measure a great college. It's not even the best. It's arguably FAMU, to be honest. Although Ferg, your school
It
just
is.
hired Marvin
No, that
Johnson.
we fight. We're talking about that. We're talking about that.
Y'all just hired.
It's not
I knew it was a touchy subject. I didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah, we ain't talking about that. Like, damn, we be your own people.
Okay, all right. That's my bad. That's my bad. That's my bad.
I saw Gabby post something about it. I was like, ooh, she is mad.
So, but yeah, man, like I just, it just feels like that. Those are the times it feels like white writers came in and like, yeah, Howard, that's an HBCU. Let's throw that in there. Like, you got FAMU, you got Virginia State, you got Hampton, you got so many.
They don't want to come to the South.
Other HBCUs.
Yeah. Don't nobody want to fuck with the South.
It's not just Howard, people.
Man.
So I just want to let all black sitcoms and shows know that going forward. You don't always have to use Howard.
Girls Trip, they were FAMUans. I don't know how I felt about that.
Speaking of good shows, man, I checked out Forever last week on Netflix. And that show, first off, it's great. But the two leads are annoying the first few episodes, but just remember that they're 16 years old. So just kind of, if you start watching it, because everybody who started watching it, they'll hit me up like, man, these two motherfuckers, Yes, they do. But the show is great. But forget how great the show is. I want to give Wood Harris his flowers, man. That dude played a great black father on that show. And that I want him to be the blueprint for how black fathers are portrayed going forward. We had Bill Cosby. I think he set a nice blueprint. Some people may say Uncle Phil. Some people say James Evans because, he was a strict, hardworking father. But I love the way Wood Harris parented his sons, mostly his older sons, since his older son is the main character. But it's a great show, man. And I just encourage everybody to check it out. And Netflix, I guess, saw the streaming numbers, and 1 week after it dropped, they already said it's going to get a season 2. So it's getting a lot of popularity. And last but not least, man, we know the Diddy trial is going on. Cassie took the stand. I just want to give, I don't know if I want to give Diddy's defense team props, but it's kind of cool to see them they handled her delicately, is what I'll say. A lot of times you see defenses go after female witnesses and use their sexual history kind of like against them. And while they did highlight it to try to make the point that, hey, he never coerced her or raped her, she was down for these freak offs. I'm so tired of hearing that word, by the way. But she was down for all of this. That's pretty much what they've been painted as. They haven't really attacked her. They've even been sensitive to some of the very intimate things in these text messages and asking if they wanted, if she wanted them to read it instead of having her read it and relive what may be painful for her. So it's not something you always see out of defenses in court. So I thought that was kind of, I don't know, kind of good, kind of cool.
It's a smart move. I mean,
because
if
he's
they
already
go hard at her, they're gonna look like they're attacking in
he comes off as a
movement. Yeah, go ahead, Ferg.
Well, part of his thing is, people are painting him as a monster. The last thing a monster needs is a monster defense.
Yeah.
The team can't be super aggressive. They're going to have to be tactical and smart. They don't have enough time to develop it. But I'm not going to, there's a lot of hearsay and, Cassie, there's some kinks in her armor and her story. But I'm going to tell you who I'm pulling for in this story.
Tootsie Roll.
It's her husband.
Yeah.
That poor bastard.
Rozzy said Tootsie Roll. 50 Cent, you stupid, by the way.
For the listeners out there that don't know, there is a rape allegation, and so they haven't named the person, but the victim, I think it's unnamed victim 2 or something like that. She said that when he whipped it out, she felt a little bit of relief because it was about as big as a large Tootsie Roll, and so she knew it wasn't going to hurt as bad. So that has to hurt your heart as anybody, I mean, any good rapist should at least, be larger than a Tootsie Roll.
Wow. We do not stand behind those comments here at Three Brothers No Sense, and we are not making light of rape. Wow,
we're going to just move right along. What were you about to say?
Wow. I don't know. I was just like, I just felt, I was talking about the husband. Like, I feel like you can, I mean, they got a baby on the way, but I feel like you can divorce her right there. Like, while we're here, like, yeah. Body count, the past, all that don't matter. But like, so you did what? How many hours? How many days? You were what on what? Like, it's he a better man than me. Much better man than me.
Do you think he knew? Like, I would assume.
Nah, I don't think she told him.
She would have had to share that testimony.
I'm sure she told him some stuff. I don't know if she told him everything.
Nah.
Or she hit the stand, though. I mean, he might not have known, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. I hear that, he like
she
FaceTimed her while they were having sex, or like while she was having sex with Diddy or something like that. She FaceTimed the husband. So
yeah, that
So it may be he may know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Then they say he got up and walked out.
He may have gotten mad. That's probably why they pursued that civil case. He might have got mad enough and said, "Oh no, we gotta get some money out of this." That's the only thing that's gonna come from me.
I think like I did some stuff in my past I'm not proud of. You're gonna hear some things that that might sound shocking, but that wasn't me. I was in a dark place, and so you just assume because I don't think anybody's been like, so we about to get married. So sit down and tell me everything.
I will say this though. That video of him beating her, even though he's not on trial for that, that's the only thing I can think of from everything I've heard so far that will probably get him convicted, because it helped easily paint him as a monster. So it makes it makes a lot of things believable that's been said in this trial. I know the jury has probably seen that video. I think they showed it.
But I think
but I haven't heard anything yet that is like, yeah, that's a crime and he's guilty of. Like, they're saying he coerced her, but like you mentioned, Fern, there are text messages where she is agreeing to that shit, saying she's down for it. So I'm not saying he's not guilty. I'm just saying I'm still waiting for that. Oh, they got him. I hadn't seen that. I think the video is probably going to do more damage than anything that's been presented in this case so far.
I'm hearing different. I think there's a tactic of desensitizing the jury, and just say, yeah, he had a demon. He had a violent streak, as you can see, but these other crimes, you're so focused on the video. It's we'll see. We'll see how it's
going. That's
domestic violence versus.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, because they're not denying they've never strayed away from anything we saw in the video.
Plus, that video was 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And she last was consensually with him in 2018.
So, and then there's a lot of people, and it's just some of these interviews. Chopper from
Making the Band.
Yeah. Boosie got Diddy back. Chopper, like, look, she sounded like she was with it. It's gonna be. I think a lot of people just need to probably not say anything, or maybe they're like, you know what? If shit hit the fan, maybe Diddy will leave my name out if I take his side now. Yeah. For me, you got anything else, Buff?
No, that's it.
Excuse me. For me, I'll say I've just been a busy week. I'm glad. Well, I'm not even saying about to get some rest. This weekend's gonna be crazy, but there is a show I'm watching on. I guess it's a documentary on Netflix, The Turning Point, and it's about the Vietnam War. And I've always kind of known about the Vietnam War, but realized I didn't know as much as I thought I did about that war, because we hear about World War I, World War II. We probably even learned about it in history class growing up, but we really glanced over the Vietnam War when it came to learning what was behind it. And I think they're doing a really good job of painting the narrative. And there's always propaganda. Somebody's trying to get their point across, but it really highlights both sides with the Communist Party, Vietnam Liberation Party, aka Viet Cong, and how the Americans played their part in just the civil rights movement. It's just so many things tied into it, and just really showing that this is one of those key turning points in American history where the American public really started losing their faith in the government, because there were so many lies told based off of what was really going on and what they were reporting. And it wasn't one time, two times, it was huge. And it was just, there's recordings and top secret recordings that are coming out now talking about how they knew they weren't going to win the war, and they kept going. And then even President Johnson, like, hey, I'm not popular. I know I'm not popular. I got a war going on. I got this tax bill, all this stuff. I think he was his approval rate was in the 30s, 31, 33%. And he was really trying to win American public over. He did a lot of stuff just so he can try to get the second term. And it's all recorded. You hear it. And then he probably would have got away with it if the Tet Offensive didn't happen. And so it's really good. I always like to see the part of history, especially American history, that we don't talk about. We see things. We talk about the things that we were taught in history class. We talk about a lot of the Black issues, but there's so many different people in this country who have a story, and part of me wants to understand them better as well.
Yeah. So. And that's been the fight with the Department of Education, right? Is they want to whitewash all of that away. They want it to be propaganda. They want you to come through school and only know that we were, doing the right thing and trying to help with democracy in Vietnam. Yeah, we lost or whatever, but at the same time, we were there for the right reasons and yada, yada, yada. And there's a lot more gray to that war, right? I mean, and how we stayed in it and some of the atrocities that we used and did during that war too.
A lot of atrocities,
right? I mean, war crimes, if you really want to think about it. And we don't teach any of that. Now, are we going to teach that to our fourth graders, fifth graders? No. But I think when we start looking at, high school and that type of thing, I think we need to be honest with our kids on that. But the Department of Education, Trump's Department of Education especially, wants it to be very, very watered down and just kind of talk through just kind of the high points. You'll mention the bad stuff, but then you brush it off and you keep rolling. And we've got to get smarter about that, or our kids are going to really forget how bad it was.
Why do you, I was thinking this earlier, I was like, why are we attacking education so much now? I know the whole woke movement. And why now? Is it because access to information has people more knowledgeable than in the past?
No, I think there's always been that way. The problem has been that white America, especially your MAGA Republican America, has been able to mold the education system, especially pre-1980s. And then in the 80s, when you saw post civil rights, you start seeing more African American people in there kind of speaking up and saying, hey, that's not right. That's not how it is. We talk about the Daughters of the Confederacy and that type of thing, right? They went in, and that's one of the things they really focused on was education. And they said that we're going to teach this, right? We're going to teach that the South, it was all about states' rights. And that's why we did the Civil War. And, slavery wasn't a bad thing. And, yeah, they were slaves, but there were some good slave owners and some bad ones, right? The whippings that you see on there was, those were one-offs, that type of thing. That's what they wanted to teach. They wanted to whitewash, and they wanted to make the history seem more palatable for the things that they did. That's always been there. And what happened in the 80s and the 90s was that we started saying, nope, you can't do that. You can't. We started calling them out. And that's where this woke movement that they're trying to call it now came from is like we were calling them out on, no, that's not how it is. You got to tell the whole story. You need to tell those different perspectives. You need to tell that story from that oppressed group's perspective and not just on the oppressors. And so what ended up happening is we started seeing progress of, like I was saying, showing the atrocity, showing the nuance to it and everything, and not painting American history and Americans as always the good guys. And that I think is what's pissing them off. And so now they've gotten back into power, and they're just going back to doing their old game plan of trying to whitewash it and make it, dumb it down to where it's, oh, America is great, and they want to go back to the 1950s. They keep talking about the 1950s, and that was really the last time before pre-1964, right? The Civil Rights Act. That's when they owned everything, and they can put whatever in the curriculum they want it to. That's why they like it. That they want to be able to say America's the greatest nation in the world. Everybody else sucks. Nobody else is as good as us, and all of that. And it's not. And to your point about the internet has all this information out there, the problem comes in that people who actually use it for the right reasons in the right way, they're seeing it and they're trying to call it out. But you've got a lot of really, really small country ass districts, school districts and stuff that are still teaching that whole states' rights and all of that crazy stuff. And so those kids are coming up, and that's what they know, and that's what they believe. So even when you talk about 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, they still believe that. My bad, got on my education soapbox, my whole school board thing. Picking curriculum is hard, guys. We're actually going through picking curriculum right now. So I voted on it last Tuesday.
All righty. So let's go ahead and keep the party going. Do we have Miss Sophie with us, or?
We do. Let me go see where she's at. She might be baking a cake. I think that's what she was doing earlier.
What she just finished? What grade Sophie just finished?
6.
Okay. Get on the squad.
I don't want to be in a
You
good
need to be
chair.
jazz squad.
Hi guys.
She's down there practicing for jazz band tryouts.
Sophie,
Tis be me.
would you like to give us a joke?
I guess I shall.
We're gonna get it, by the way.
No, you're not. It's not cool. That hurt my feelings. Why did the teddy bear say no to dessert?
He was stuffed.
She was stuffed. I ate. Okay, guys. Okay. How do you make a witch? Hey.
You're wrong. You lost.
I'm going again.
It doesn't matter. We're going to edit that one out.
He's the editor and he's my dad. This is nepotism, and I say he's going to keep it and skip yours.
I think that's reverse nepotism.
He's going to take out your loss just because. So I don't lose.
You got to learn how to lose. He doesn't raise a fake winner. Right? Sometimes you got to take an L and loss. It's not a trophy. We're not part of the trophy generation. Give us the other joke so we can get it. Don't cheat this time. Come on.
How do you make a witch itch? Take out the W. You're not getting it again.
Yeah, see, I mean, the fans. I think you're losing viewers, Sophie, because you cheat.
I'm not cheating.
You cheat. Yeah, you. Hey.
Holly's here too.
This is Soliver.
All right, get out of here.
I'm not losing fans. The fans love me, actually.
I don't know. Your approval rating's going down.
Exactly. They did. They for riots for me to come back.
Mm-hmm. Go. Get out of here.
No one was rioting for him to come back.
Are y'all going to see that new Lilo? Was it Lilo?
Lilo and Stitch? Yeah, the live action. Yeah, we're going to go.
Oh, it's live action?
Yeah. Okay. We're going to go. Again, I don't have high hopes for it, but we're going to go. We'll see.
It's been so long. Like, when was the first one? Like 10?
Yeah, it's like 15, almost 20 years probably. Lilo and Stitch came out.
Definitely more than 15 years ago.
Lilo and Stitch, yeah.
I thought it was been a minute.
Yeah, it's 2000. It's more than 15 years. I think you forget how old we are. Or how
2002.
Oh yeah, it was 20
years ago.
I'm thinking early 2000s.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. 2002. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's early 2000s. I think 15 years ago, we think that's early 2000s.
Yeah, that's 2010. 15 years ago, it's 2010. That's, yeah. What were they saying? Like, we are closer to 2000, or 30 years ago for us is like in 1980 being 1950, right? So, like, yeah. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
old.
I'm 44, so you're looking at somebody that was born in 1936. When we were babies. So, all right, who wants to go first? Well, I'll stick with my original thing. I was talking about the show, and we've turning point, the Vietnam War, and they talked about the draft, and then they talked about how we had a lot of draftees in Vietnam, but part of the American strategy was a war of attrition. They just felt like if they can just keep killing Vietnamese, that they would finally just stop. They would run out of men, and it seemed like the more people they killed, the more they motivated others to join, and so their numbers just continued to grow. And part of it was because of they felt invaded. And we've talked, I think, several times about patriotism. I guess almost a death of patriotism in the U.S., where like people are nowhere near as patriotic as they used to be, where people would sign up to go to war and all that, right? If there was a World War III right now, none of us are like, yeah, that ain't my fight. However, if we were invaded, how do you think the U.S. would respond? Do you think the patriotism would come back? Do you think that we would go full Viet Cong, where no matter what happened, we're fighting to tooth and nail? And I mean, I think they said because they had a draft too, but 70-80% of the volunteer soldiers were women. So like everybody was fighting. Everybody was in the fight. Could you see us being that bought in as a people?
I think so. I think I see both faces. I do think so. I think that America, Buff says it all the time, right? Like, there's no other place that I'd rather be. And I do think that people, for all of our shortcomings, for everything that's happening, I think Americans would step up and say, we can talk about our country, but you can't, right? We can go at it and fuss. It's like a household, right? I can fight with my brother all day long, but nobody outside better not say anything to him. I feel like that's what's going to happen. Now, what I will say is, depending on the country that's invading us, just like you had the Viet Cong and you had the Vietnamese, Southern Vietnamese that was on our side or whatever it was, right? There's gonna be some folks that's gonna like be on the attacking side. South Africa or Nigeria invade us. Black people might be like, you know what? We might roll with them. Like, I could see that, right? Mexico invades us, and the Latino community just be like, you know what? It might not be that bad, right? So I don't know with these Latinos that voted for Trump. So we'll see. But I do think there's going to be pockets of people who side with the enemy, of course. But I think as a whole, the United States would definitely like band together and defend our nation, because I think for all the shortcomings, I don't think most Americans would rather be anywhere else. So yeah, we're gonna go, and we have more guns. What do we have? Like 2 times as many guns per capita than anybody else. So we're gonna be all right for the most part. So go ahead, Buff.
Ferg, I don't think you realize how complicated that question is.
I do. I think Rozzy completely oversimplified it.
Because I just think too many in this country, they love this country when it's going their way. And when it's not, then it's like, screw this country. So it's going to depend on a lot of things. Like Rozzy brought up one factor. It depends on who invades us. But it probably also depends on who's in charge, who's running the country at the time, and whether or not they agree with them, whether or not they fought them, or they may want to help that invading country overthrow the government, and they'll look at it as, we've seen people will justify anything as patriotism. So it's really difficult to answer that question, bro, because I've just seen too many times where people pick and choose when they love this country. And I know you started off the question saying that patriotism isn't what it used to be. You're right. There's not a lot of Steve Rogers that are going around running and lying. They want to serve in the military so bad they'll lie about their age. I don't know about that, but I think when it comes to loving this country, believe it or not, I think Black people are probably among the most patriotic. We show it differently. we not stars and stripes waving patriotic. But if you look at the atrocities that this country has committed against us, when you look at what this country owes us and refuses to ever pay us back in, and the fact that we still are here, we still, people like me are still saying they would rather not live anywhere else but here. Maybe it's stupid loyalty, but I think we're probably among the most loyal of anybody in this country. So go ahead.
I agree in some to extent with that, but I think some of it's by default. We wouldn't
Like
even
it's
know.
all we know.
We wouldn't even know where to go.
Yeah.
Where will we go? Razi was joking about, like, let's say Mexico invaded. There's a home for other people. We're one of the only groups that is completely displaced. There's no other home for us but America. Like, if we had an option, because the reason I ask is I'm thinking, let's say we got invaded. A lot of people could leave. Think about it. If freaking Russia invaded, China invaded, people can leave. People have family back. The Nigerians could leave. The Mexicans can leave. We're like, where do we go? And I think part of it for me is also, when we look at it, it's where do they invade? Because it's as great as it sounds like, yeah, we're gonna all go and fight for. If they invade California, is Buff leaving DC to go fight in California? Is Rozzy leaving Birmingham to go fight in Atlanta? How close does the action have to be for you to go? Because I think we see that a lot, and it's not a life or death thing, but a lot of times with all the atrocities that's going on in the country, it's, if it doesn't directly affect me.
So hypothetically, someone invades California and the government says, look, Russia has invaded California. We need people to sign up right now. Do you think the majority of people here are signing up to go fight in California?
Nope.
I do. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe
okay.
I do.
Buff, what say you? Are you signing up?
I'm old, man.
Are you signing? Bruh, there was go watch this. Like, there's old men, old women. There's people are fighting because they believe the life that they love and grew up in is being attacked, and they're willing to fight for it and die for it. Razi, you going to Cali?
I am, but I mean, we do in the military. It's like,
I did my time. I did my time. Ain't nothing. Right? Like, it has to be.
But you wouldn't be worried about if it happens there. They're just gonna keep.
It's
pushing.
just gonna keep steamrolling.
But they're gonna keep pushing. They're gonna keep pushing regardless. Am I the superhero? Am I the magic bullet that's gonna stop everything? Because I went. We're gonna win. No, buddy, I'm protecting Cyprus. If they make it to Houston, Texas, think about when they riot and do stuff. We're not running to go participate.
Well, I think rioting is very different, though, right? Like, those usually are contained. It's not like they're trying to riot and overthrow and then continue to expand, right? It's very different from a foreign country coming in and invading and saying, because nobody thinks Russia's just going to take California, right? They're coming in, they're going to keep pushing, like Bo said. And so, yes, I want to fight them off as soon as possible. So yeah, the same reason I joined the military the first time, I was like, I'm doing it to defend the nation. my family, right? Not necessarily the nation. I can care anything about them. I'm doing it I stayed in.
Yeah,
I stayed in.
Okay, yeah, we joined for two totally different. Yeah, we joined for two different reasons.
So during it's different, but during Katrina, when you saw people volunteering to go down there and help, were you impressed by the amount of people that went to go help, or were you like, dang?
No, I saw a need because those people, and I mean, I didn't go because I was in school, but I was part of a lot of stuff we did at FAM. We raised funds, we helped. I was a part of that. I forgot what it was. The young brother that we started stuff with is now an activist. But yeah, I definitely was impressed. But I think it was because, but there was a lot of people that went. But there was people in Iowa that weren't looking at. They didn't care about what was going on with them niggas in New Orleans.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
you're gonna have that no matter what scenario you put out there.
And so my thing is, I'm not saying everybody in Vietnam was just like, okay, let's go. Think about Ukraine, right? When Russia invaded, there was a lot of people that, that it
They
was
tooled
just,
up. They tooled up.
yeah. And I'm like, do we have that loyalty? Do we have, people leave? You have Ukrainians that left the U.S. to come over here. I mean, to go over there to fight. You had U.S. soldiers that went over there, to fight. And I mean, I say that I got to look at the threat, but I don't know if we're as patriotic as that. I don't know if we would. I mean, I think we would be on the defensive. Like if the closer they got to us, so there would be a okay point of no return where we got to do something. But I don't think people are leaving. There are going to be some people, but I don't.
There may be, but I mean, you think it's just like you said. You didn't leave Tallahassee for Katrina, but you still did something in Tallahassee, and I think that's what'll end up happening. I'm not saying everybody's going to jump on a flight and head to California to be on the front lines, but I do think Americans in general will say, "What do I need to do?" Right? Oh, they need extra bullets. Here's extra bullets, or they need recyclables, or they're gonna need blankets, and here's blankets, and we're collecting that and we're sending it. Like there people will help. And so I think the United States as a whole will mobilize, and there's only going to be so many people that are going to be like, "Yep, I'm going to fight,"
So let
until
me
it
ask you
gets closer
this:
to them.
would they do that out of patriotism or fear?
A little bit of both.
Are your actions out of like I'm doing this now because I gotta protect my family? It's not like how dare they attack our put boots on the ground in our country.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, well, I will say this,
I
and we can
really,
move on.
again, I really think it depends on who's invading us, right? If Canada invade us, I probably would be like, I don't mind. I don't mind if Canada takes over, right? Like
But
versus.
I think what would happen depends on how long it goes, is how bad it gets.
Mm-hmm.
It's.
Do you remember we watched Good Morning Vietnam in Afghanistan,
Yeah,
and the
I
scene
was.
where the kid is like, you killed my uncle, you killed my
Yeah,
brother,
so
like
that's what happens
yeah.
anytime that's the heart of guerrilla warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Is everybody's war, my opinion, war creates terrorists. A lot of terrorists are created situationally. You can't have somebody that turns overnight because of something that happened. Casualties of war. So and that's kind of what I think I was looking at in this documentary is, as like you said, some of the atrocities where U.S. soldiers are going and burning down villages, killing kids, they're bombing villages and doing all this stuff, airstrikes, and the survivors, a mother watching her kids burn, watching her husband get shot, all this stuff now becomes a freedom fighter, right? So maybe day one, day two, but once you start seeing the things and you start, I just feel like there might be a different mentality just because I don't think America has felt oppression. And I think coming from like somebody like Vietnam, who not too long before the American Vietnam War was in a war with France, right? And they had been occupied by France. So they had been oppressed. And so they were fighting for their freedom. They were fighting for things. And I think a lot of these times, Afghanistan, similar situation. I feel like Americans might be cocky enough, or our egos might, like, we feel like we're going to win this regardless. Like, you can't mess with us. It's like,
Our military
even,
is strong enough that I don't need to jump in and
even
help.
that, but even like the atrocities we would see are one offs. A lot of times we don't relate to those things because that's not us. Right? If they go burn a village, and if San Diego burns, are you crying? Right? It's a bunch of rich people on the West Coast and stuff like that. When you're in Vietnam and you're the poor farmers and all this stuff, and you just got over war and all this stuff, and you're feeling the Americans came in to overtake us. It's like, here's somebody else trying to overtake us. In our minds, like, we're the best, nobody can overtake us. I think our pride might us up. You know, I even the thought of somebody invading us is probably far fetched for a lot of people.
I was gonna say, once someone invades us, their arrogance should be thrown out the window.
But our arrogance has been thrown out the window a lot of times.
It should be. I mean, it's the bully that he thinks nobody's gonna stand up to him, and once somebody stands up to him, he gets angry, right? And I think that's a little bit of what the UNS is gonna have to be. I feel like the eyes are gonna get open, but there's plenty of patriots out there that would run and head to California right now. There, especially down here in the South. There's plenty of folks, if they would storm the Capitol on January 6th, you don't think they're going to go to California to fight Russia?
Nah, boy, they're trying to let them get rid of them liberals.
I think the closest real example we have is like post 9/11. You guys can tell me, did military sign up? Did it go up?
It definitely did.
So, and that's it doesn't get more liberal than, well, maybe San Francisco, but New York is pretty liberal. But people saw that as not an attack on New York, but an attack on America. And people want to do something about it. So we may find our patriotism. We may,
Yeah, 9/11 is a great example of that. I mean,
I can accept that.
Sign-ups went up like exponentially. People started joining. People wanted to go, right, and fight. So, and that wasn't even on our soil. So imagine it being on our soil and them actually occupying territory.
He's talking about the fight wasn't on our soil.
Right, the fight wasn't on our soil. Yeah.
Hey, bro, what 9/11 are you talking about?
9/11 was on our soil. I'm saying, like the fight, right? Hey, bro. Like, happened, but I'm saying, like, the fight isn't actually on our soil. So now you're actually occupying U.S. territory. You don't think people are going to be like, oh, hell no, and going to join? I definitely think so.
Buff, did you want to join the military after 9/11?
No, I didn't. That's just me.
I happened to be in the military, and I was like, "Shit, we're going to war." So, like, we can talk all that. It sounds good. The country was more patriotic, and there was a lot of American flags, and country music was on an all-time high.
Yeah, but like you were already there. But like we're talking about, people saw it and like they signed up because they wanted to go fight. They wanted to do something.
And the data that shows it that signups went up. People started signing up. People joined. So, all right, what else we got? Good question, Ferg. Now I got to go watch this documentary.
Very, very complicated question. Is either you or me, Rozzy?
You got it. If you got one.
Okay, I'm gonna completely change gears away from war and patriotism. I want to talk about our kids, man. Not specifically our kids, but just kids in general. And just give you a hypothetical. Would you rather have an extremely successful kid that you pretty much steered their career, like school and major and what career they chose? Would you rather have an extremely successful kid that grows to resent you because you didn't give them a chance to pursue what they wanted to? Or would you rather have a kid that does okay but loves you because you let them choose their own path? So I guess an example is like you steer somebody to be a surgeon or whatever, extremely successful surgeon or doctor, but they resent you because that's not what they really want. They just happen to be good at it, but they really wanted to pursue something else. Or a kid you was hands off and they, I don't want to name a specific job because I don't want it to sound like I'm taking a shot at the job. But let's just say a job that pays less than $50,000. But they're not getting in any trouble. They're not borrowing. They're not asking for money all the time. They're content with their lifestyle. Which one would you rather have?
You want to go first? I can go.
And this came from forever, by the way, because the mom was extreme. She is extremely. I'm not giving away spoilers, but she's extremely involved in the son's career path and where he should go to school, and because she wants him to go to her alma mater. So that's kind of where this question is coming from.
Gotcha. Probably gonna say the latter. I do think
freaking liberal.
No, I mean,
Rozzy thinking, well, I already got money, so if they don't grow up to make money, I'm good.
And you. Truthfully, it is. I mean, rich people. I think we talked about that on one of the shows, right? Children of rich parents have the opportunity to go be the broke, starving artist, right? Like it's
He
you
just
see
admitted he
that a
was
lot
rich.
more. No, I'm not saying I'm rich. I'm just saying like with additional money, richer. Either way, it I I do feel like you said, they're comfortable with their. I don't want my kid to be broke, right? And so finding that balance of finding what you love that you can live off of. So as long as you're happy making $50,000, we talk about teachers, right? A teacher's gonna make $50,000-$60,000 to start, right? They can make more as they do it longer, get higher education, get a master's, blah 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 blah. But right out of school, they're making $45,000-$50,000 a year, and they love it. Like some of those teachers, like they have to love it to stay in it, right? There's no like, oh, I'm doing this just so I can live. I want my kid to be able to say, I'm doing what I really, really love. I wake up every day and I'm happy with it. And so if that means that they're not the super successful doctor or lawyer, everything, I don't think that career path isn't for everybody. And I think we need to really kind of have a hard look on that to say, what is going to make our child happy? What we should be steering our child to do is finding out what their interests are, finding out what they're happy, and figuring out a career path that can make them money that way. Right. That's really what I want to kind of find that sweet spot there. But if they are completely happy making $50,000 a year, like you say, they're not asking me for money all the time. They got it. They're cool with driving a regular car and living in a regular house. Cool. That I'm happy for them, and that's what I want for them. I want them to be happy with their life and to enjoy life. I don't want them because truthfully, like being a doctor, always on call, no, like the work life balance sucks. It's really really hard to maintain relationships. Your family kind of pays for it. Like that's not for everybody, and I don't want my child living like that, especially if they don't really really like what they do and they don't have a family unit behind them, and they're not having that. That's where you see a lot of doctors and a lot of lawyers commit suicide, and that's why. And so I don't want that. And so no, I definitely don't want to where this child resents me because I pushed them into something that they don't want to do. If it's to the point where they're going to resent me because I made them do it, then I don't want that. So now I do want them to be successful in whatever they do, though.
No,
So
you don't.
it's a little bit of both. No, I don't.
Yeah, restate your question, Buff. I want to make sure I understand it properly.
Would you rather have extremely successful kids that grow to resent you, or kids that grow to be okay, but they love you? They got a less than $50,000 job. They staying out of trouble. They're not borrowing money from you all the time, but in your mind, they could have did much better. They just doing okay, but they love you.
And they're resenting me because I did what?
There's the extremely successful one because you kind of forced them to. You forced TJ to go to FAMU. You forced him to pursue, some high earning career that he was good at, but he didn't really want to do it. That's not where his passion or his love.
I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the bad guy. I'm fine with that.
What a jerk!
No, just because I feel like we talk about Rising said this before. That's part of parenting.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you gotta, because they don't know. They don't know. Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to, I think about Step Brothers, one of my favorite movies, where it's like, I wanted to be a dinosaur. It's like my parents had to tell me, like, nigga, there's no such thing as being a dinosaur. Like, it's everybody wants to live the life they want to live. And my sister says it, she says it best with her daughters. Like, my goal is to get you so far where even when you fail, this is the worst case scenario. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna get you a degree. I'm gonna get you the network. I'm gonna get you the things you need. So because there's gonna be a time where they're gonna step away. Parents have done all the right things. Parents have been best friends, and kids can still hate them. You might resent me. We can get past that. We can get past that. But at the same time, my grandkids are gonna be okay. I'm setting the next generation up for a better chance because and there's nothing wrong with the teachers and stuff like that. And Razi, you definitely inflated the income of teachers coming out right now. They are not making that across the nation.
Yeah, I was like, damn, teachers doing pretty good. Being
honest. And so, but teachers, they're I feel like they deserve pay raises and all that stuff. And that's a whole nother conversation. That was a big argument in one of our groups. But I feel like we keep starting over. finance matters. Money matters. There's a lot. You can have some really good therapists when you make some good money. Like it's this things, and it's not all about the money, but I want to increase their success, their chance of success. And it's not all just about the money, but it's legacy. Now my grandkids don't have to worry. I don't want anybody in my family, in my lineage, have to struggle through college the way I did. There was plenty of times that could have broke me, right? And I worked hard for them. And so it's, yeah, you're a little upset. Yeah, you make your kids eat their vegetables. You make them go to sleep at a certain time. You make them brush their teeth. You make them take a bath. You probably make them get in the bath again because they really didn't bathe. Like there's things we're going to do that they're not going to like. And I'm fine with it. Now, I'm not going to be one of those people that I'm not trying to live vicariously through my kids. I'm not trying to, because I want to play in the league, I'm about to make my son play football. But yeah, let's look at fam. Let's look at these majors. You want to do what? You want to be a comedic science? No, we're not going to no, go get your engineering degree and you can be a comic on the side. If comedy takes off, then great. But I want to at least give you the tools to be successful where because I feel there's a lot of people as you go back, especially as we get older, it's like, I wish somebody would have pushed me more. I wish somebody would have we have a friend that says that. I should have listened to you. I should have followed y'all lead. When y'all left for college, I should have went right with y'all. When I was playing around in high school, I was doing this stuff. And I've had that conversation with him several times. And he's like, man, I'm glad y'all did that. And it's, man, my son's mad at me, but now he makes $150,000, $200,000 a year. His kids are going to be taken care of. He's financially secure. His kids have a bright future, which probably means their kids have a bright future. But he's upset with me. Okay, I can live with that. Do I want that? Do I want my kids to resent me? No. But I can live with that if that's going to make them better people and make everything down the line better.
Yeah, and I'll let you. I don't care about the resentment piece either. Like that isn't. It's for me. It's they're happy with what they're doing. Yes or no, right? Like I don't want to push them into a career. I don't want to make them like you say. You're going to the league because I wanted to go to the league, and you're good at football, so you got to go to the league. If my football playing kid is good enough to go to the league, but he's like, I don't want to do that. I want to be an engineer. I'm like, okay. Right, like that's what I'm saying. It's like you're still going to go into something. I want you to go into something that you can be happy with and be comfortable with and be able to be good in everything.
Well, I'm going to go back on your teacher comment. Like, you got to love your job. Most people don't love their job, Razi. I'll be honest with you. Work for a lot of people is an mean or means to end, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. So if you're gonna not like your job, you can not like your job and make $40,000. You can not like your job and make $80,000. You can not like your job and make $800,000. It's up to you, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I don't hate my job, but if I won the lotto today and never had to work again, but I continue on, is this what I would be doing? No.
Yeah. No, right? I'm not saying like you like love it, like oh my god, it's I wake up every morning thinking about going to work and I'm so happy. But there's a minimum level of I don't mind doing this job, right? Like I like this job, I can do this job. I'm
fine with it. So like I think I'll say I have friends who became engineers, got degrees in various things, and went back and went to law school or just you know what? I have a pro fight. Was an engineer, got his engineering degree, became an engineer. Didn't like engineering, went to law school. He's a lawyer. But guess what? If he wouldn't like law school, guess what? Worst case scenario, he's an engineer. That's worst case scenario. He's an engineer. Right? Yeah. That's my thing. It's like I want to give you the tools where your worst case scenario is better than most people's best case scenario. That would be a engineers make really good money, and even an engineer coming out making $80,000, $90,000 is top 75-80%, right? That is good money coming out, graduating 24, 25 years old, and you want to go pursue something else, you want to become a comedian or whatever. You can do this for a couple of years, but you can always go back to something that's a foundation. Even just getting a degree, there are certifications. People like, hey, you get your degree, Because despite whatever you do after that, you can go want to travel the world for 10 years. You can come back and still have a degree. I'm not saying degrees everything, but there's certain things that like, hey, you got to get this. You got to get your high school diploma. You got to do these things because worst case scenario, at least you got your diploma. You know, how many people go back and get their GED? How many people go back, you know, at 40 years old, go back to college or whatever, because they know it opens doors. And I want those doors to be open for you, whether you love me, like me or not. I want to open as many doors for. Worst case scenario, you don't like me, but you have a plethora of doors open. I've done my job as a parent.
Yeah, but I see a lot of kids go to school and end up dropping out because they didn't want to be there, and their parents made them go, and you just wasted money, right? Like,
fair point.
I did everything I could. That's all. As I said, all I can do is do everything I could. You know, I can't like, well, they didn't want to go to college. Okay, all right. Good luck.
We're like those 3 bowls of porridge in the three little bears. Like, one opinion too hot, one opinion too cold. Also, listeners, I want you to realize Rozzy kind of tried to cheat again on his answer by using a football player and an engineer. I said extremely successful or a less than $50,000. He trying to cheat. Well, if you don't be a football player, you can still go be this great job too. No, that wasn't the question, brother.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't be trying to change it. I'm gonna say, well, first off, I do care about resentment from my child, so I want to put that out there. I do care, but I don't think you can, when you are parenting and giving your child advice and trying to guide them, you can't worry about the end result. You got to do what you think is best to set them up for success. Now, to take a little bit from Rozzy's answer, I don't ever want to make it where they don't have a choice. I'm not going to say you have to go here, you have to do this. What I'm going to do is say this. Okay, you want to pursue this job that the ceiling is $60,000, $70,000. That's the ceiling for it. You love it that much. Cool, but I think in situations like that, you have to be happy with more than just your job, because that type of income, like first say, finances is damn near everything. That type of income is going to limit you on a lot of other things. Do you like traveling? Because if you do, then you may want to second think that. Do you like eating out occasionally? Do you like splurging? Do you not like having to worry about when a financial emergency comes with your car, or you have to miss work and all that kind of stuff? Do you care about the size of your house? Like, it can't just be, oh, I love this and that's what I want to do, because everything else matters. Because even if you love that job, if the rest of your lifestyle cannot be comfortable enough for you to enjoy because your job limits you, then eventually you're not going to be happy with that job. Mm-hmm. So I just think what I would say is give your kids like all the scenarios. Say, hey, I know you want to be that, but this is what life will be like.
Yep.
Versus, you may not, like first say, you could be unhappy with a $40,000 job, or you could be unhappy with an $800,000 job. And I'll just be like, look, do you hate it that much? Because if it's just like, it's hard work, but at the end of the day, you don't necessarily hate it, you just don't like having to apply yourself that much, then you might need to get out of your own damn way and go ahead and do that. Because $800,000 a year is going to afford you to have a lot more freedom than this job you love so much. So I just want to take kind of both of your answers and not just say I'm going to dictate, but I'm definitely going to let them know, if you choose this route,
I'm at the call.
Know what comes with it.
I'm at the call you out, Buff. You kind of cheated too. You went in the middle.
What I do?
He went in the middle.
What I do?
You were in the middle. You didn't tell us we go in the middle. Of course we all want.
You're right. Damn.
We tried to make the binary decision.
You're right.
No.
Damn, you're right.
For me, I agree with you, and I want to make it certain. And you did make me think of something. I don't want to. I know, and I've heard this. Like, a lot of parents are disappointed because they paint this vision of a life for their kid. Right? I want my son's gonna be a doctor. My son's gonna be a football player, and all this stuff. Like I said, I think you have to parent. And I will look at my kids' talents and be watching them throughout their life and kind of understand who they are. and try to put them in the best position for them, and not let them sell themselves short. Like, I'm pretty sure we all have kids, and you have to fight them to do things like, you're better than this. You're not giving your all. And so my thing is, I'm going to always challenge you to be your best and give you probably a little more nudge than you used to, because nobody else is going to do it. Where TJ might be a doctor, maybe he has a mindset for that, and it's like, hey, son, you can do a lot. Like, the sky's the limit. Sky might not want that life. Maybe she's more artistic and all this stuff. And like, what can we do to make sure you maximize your talent and your gifts? I'm like, well, I want a doctor and a lawyer. I want successful kids, extremely successful in their abilities, right? Because if I have this idea of what I want them to be, I will be completely disappointed, right? Taking it away from that, because I think I was reading somewhere where, for a lot of parents, when their kids come out as gay or whatever, that's probably the hardest part, because they in their mind had a pre-existing vision of their child's life, right? Well, my son's gonna get married and have kids, and I'm gonna have a beautiful wife and grandkids, and that doesn't happen. And so you're disappointed because you had this vision for your life. And your vision for your life was actually your vision for your kids' life affected your life, versus like, hey, I want to make sure they're the best they are. And they don't want to, no kid really wants to get up and go to school. No kid wants to do all these things. And so my thing is remembering they're still kids and they need to be parented. And
to your point, that there's gray there, right? There's the conversations, right? There's the exposure. I see your talents, right? And so I'm going to say, hey, let's go look at these things, right? I am going to steer you where you need to go. I think that's probably the difference there. I'm going to steer you. I'm not going to force you, right? I will never force you into any of these roles. I'm going to steer you into a higher paying position, right? I'm not going to let you take that $50,000 job unless you just 100% love it, like you said. But we're going to look for higher ceiling roles that you might be interested in. We're going to look for roles that
be a rapper, Dad.
Expose you to it. No, right? Like you said,
no,
you can rap
on
the
happy.
side. You can you can rap.
You don't let Ali make mixtapes, dog?
Nah. You can go and be an engineer. You can go be an engineer, right? And so if you love music like that, go and get an engineering degree, like a music engineering degree, or something, music history or something like that. So then you have something, like you said, you have something where, worst case scenario, you don't make it in the industry. You have something.
You don't believe in me, Dad. Right? You don't believe in me. You never loved me. No. You never believed in me.
I provide contingencies. That literally is my job.
I hate you, Dad.
I'm all about that.
I hate you.
And that's why I said I don't really worry about resentment, right? Like you hate me all you want, but I'm sorry, I can't support your rap career unless I'm like, oh my God, this kid is like super talented. Like, you got to blow me away if I'm going to support that.
And because it's my question, you guys call me out. I'm gonna have to, since it's binary, I got to side with Ferg. But I do care about the resentment.
I care. It's gonna hurt. I'm gonna cry. But my thing is,
I'm sorry if I steer her to become a radiologist or something, something that starts at $350,000 a year. I just feel like, yeah, you can hold on to that resentment towards me, but everybody you come across in your life is gonna be like, if you don't get over that shit, your dad did what, and did he ever do it? And you resent him for what? Like, I just feel like everybody would come in her life and be like, you're the problem.
Yeah, and I think, and I've seen, because it made me think, and I haven't seen your show yet, but Sterling K. Brown in his last role was Paradise, and the guy that was a president, and the way his dad treated him and all the stuff,
right?
And he really resented his dad. But I think there was an evil and ulterior motive to that. So I think that's where the resentment comes, when you're trying to live through or you're not doing it for your. It's hard. I feel like it's hard for your kid to hate you, especially as they get older, because everybody has problems with kids when they're young. If you do it for the right reason, huh?
Yeah.
If you do it for the right
reason, with Rozzy, because Rozzy was like, rich kids get to pursue what they want, but a lot of times these rich parents want their kids to carry on a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not gonna want them to go be that artist or whatever. They like, no, you're gonna go be a lawyer so you can become a partner at the same law firm I'm at. You know what I mean? Like, not every rich kid gets that choice either. A lot of times they get pushed in the shit they don't want to.
Well, I'm gonna leave you with this because as you were thinking through the question and as you were initially answering, I was like, is it different with girls and boys? Because I think most fathers want their daughters to get married and hopefully have their own money and do good, but also marry somebody that can, where they're not having to worry about certain things, but also raising my son to be somebody who can do the things I would want my husband or my daughter to do. Right. Like, and so, hey, TJ, you don't have that same privilege that Skylar has. Right. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to be the provider. I'm teaching you to do this and this. I want Sky to have her own. I want her to be an individual, not independent. I still never want her to lose herself. And that's going to be a question coming up very soon. But, there's different things that you're preparing because that's what the world expects. So maybe your daughter doesn't have to be a radiologist, or she can be certain things. And also when we talked a while back about the pay disparity, and Buff, I think you were right. If I remember correctly, you were talking about there is a pay disparity, but it's because of the jobs that people are choosing. The career path people are taking. I'm not saying choosing. Yeah. So it's, a lot of women, a lot of the jobs that are primarily female led are lower paying jobs. Right. And men are taking, and we're talking about even just like skill jobs, trade jobs. Like you can go be a secretary or you can go weld. Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it doesn't take nothing against welders or truck drivers or anything like that, but there's money to be made other ways, and people are taking those jobs. So it's
and women who go into those spaces are looked down upon, right? Female welders is a whole thing, and people are like, why are they there, right? So it's definitely an issue.
Yeah. So yeah, I know that's our last question. Let's go ahead and close it on out. Good question.
Yeah, great discussion, man. Yeah, great discussion.
Questions. Only thing I got, man, is shout out to Birmingham. We are getting ready to open up the amphitheater down in Birmingham. So we have one out in Oak Mountain, and it's kind of old and everything. And I am loving the strategy that Birmingham is taking. So for folks that don't know, Birmingham was actually the most segregated city in the South pre-1960s. And one of the biggest things that happened after the 1960s, after civil rights, was this fracturing of the city. So whereas we talk about Houston being huge, right, or some of the large Atlanta being huge, what Birmingham did is white flight happened, and they not only moved to the suburbs, they created their own cities. And so the Birmingham metro area is about 7 or 8 different smaller cities that were created literally because of segregation. And so what has always happened is all the kind of good things would happen in the white areas, right? Hoover would take it. Vestavia would happen. What we call Over the Mountain would take like the amphitheater, and they'd create like the arenas, and all that would all be built in those areas, and Birmingham wouldn't get it. And Birmingham has taken that control back. Birmingham has said, you know what? We don't care what you guys are saying and what you guys are doing. We don't care that there is a, say, amphitheater that's 10 miles down the road. We're going to build one here in Birmingham. And so it is actually it's working really, really well, where people are starting to come to the city, and it's attracting a lot of tourism because people can walk in this 5-mile radius, and they can hit Top Golf, they can go to the BJCC, the Civic Center, they can hit the amphitheater. That there's things to do within walking distance, where you're not having to drive 30 minutes to get to one thing, 45 minutes to get to the other, and everything is spread out because every little city wanted their own thing. And so I just want to shout them out. The city council in Birmingham City has just done a really, really good job of thinking through that and just pushing forward. And it's to the point now where you're seeing those cities even think about maybe coming back into Birmingham and being annexed. So it's working. So shout out to Birmingham, man. So that's all I got.
Good stuff, man. First and foremost, Contentville, what up? The ladies of Inspire You on air are doing their thing. See you ladies were in New York this week doing some big things. So Just keep up the great work, Miss Amberly and Miss Minniefield. We see you. We got to get you on the show very soon. So hopefully we can finally get these schedules aligned. We have talked about Tyler Perry, not in a glowing light, several times on this show. And I just want to make it clear to the listeners, if it's not, that I don't hate the man. I don't dislike him. I just don't care for his work. But I root for him. And I want you to know, whenever he comes out with a new project, I watch the trailer to see, is this the one? Is this the one that I will check out? Because so far he has 2 projects that I can watch. And that's Why Did I Get Married and Acrimony. Other than that,
Daddy's Little Girls?
No.
The movie? You didn't like Daddy's Little Girls? I love that movie. I love that movie.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. But he has a new show coming out. I saw She the People. And I clicked on the trailer and I can't do it. But I just wanted to say that I am rooting for him. Like, look, I'm rooting for him. He keeps Black actors and actresses employed. He built that studio. I wish him the best. Just makes a lot of work that isn't catered to me. So I just want to make sure y'all know that I don't hate Tyler Perry. Last but not least, man, we've been talking about shows a lot on this episode, but there's a show that came out earlier this year on Netflix called Adolescence. It's not a show that I'm going to necessarily recommend you watch because of how it's shot. It's shot from that, it's filmed in that single take type. I don't know the exact lingo for cinema, but it's single take. So let's say Ferg tells Rozzy, all right, man, I'm on my way. It's going to literally show Ferg hanging up the phone, and instead of like the next scene being him knocking on Rozzy's door, he hangs up the phone, he grabs his jacket, he ties his shoes, grabs his key. It's going to show you every single step, even the entire ride to Rozzy's to Rozzy's house. And so it makes it feel drawn out. But it's 4 episodes, and the show discusses toxic masculinity in such a subtle way, but I think it's well done how they discuss it. It's a 13-year-old kid who's accused of killing a 13-year-old classmate. And he fell into that Andrew Tate red pill, I call him the red pill mafia, YouTube videos. And you just start to see subtle comments and stuff when he's talking to his psychologist on how he truly feels about women. And it's not like a big reveal right away. It builds up to it. So it's only 4 episodes. But if you can deal with that type of film, like the opening scene is them arresting him. And it's like literally kicking in his door. They arrest him. They put him in the car, drive him to the station. Like, you see all that. There's no editing like, okay, now we're at the police station. And man, it makes it feel dragged out. But last thing I say on this.
Does he stay in a small town? I mean,
no. That's just how they chose to film it, man. That's how they chose to film it.
Houston, me driving to your house would be an episode.
Well, not literally, but like if you live in the neighborhood or something like that. Just watch episode 3. I think episode 3 tells you pretty much everything you need to know about the show. It's an episode where he's talking to his psychologist, and I think it's a great episode. Just how they build up. He's this little innocent kid, and then his anger gets triggered, and he makes little comments. He's like, oh. And so it really, in a nuanced way, tackles toxic masculinity. So something I wanted to, but I don't want to tell people to really watch it because it's like,
yeah, you just unsold me.
Yeah,
dry show. But just watch episode 3. If you don't do anything else, just watch episode.
Alrighty, NBA playoffs are here. I don't even know who I want to win at this point. It's just been
Anthony Edwards, baby. Let's go,
Ant-Man. Yep.
Yeah, man, it's been crazy. It's been a lot of crazy injuries. Celtics, Steph. I mean, it's been a crazy playoff. But trying to get excited. I don't know if you guys are. The NBA kicks off their season tonight. How do you guys feel this season's going to do? Do you think it's going to have carryover from last season, or was that a one and done?
So, I'm sorry, ask that again.
WNBA kicks off today, and I'm trying to get excited about it, but I don't hear or sense the same excitement as last year. I'm trying to figure out if this is going to be, if that's going to carry over from last year, or if this is one and done. Your face says the answer.
Yeah, I think they're gonna lose some folks, but it's gotten bigger, right? I think it's gotten bigger than the year before last, right? And so that's where I do think that you'll see growth. They'll lose some, but there are people who legitimately got interested and was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going. And even if it's not I'm watching every game or as many games as I watched last year, you might catch a couple of them, right? Like I'm going to see Angel Reese when I go to Chicago. So, right, we're going to see the game. So we're going to be there. So that is one more or two more tickets that got sold that wouldn't have gotten sold, 2 years ago. So I think there is going to be a little bit more excitement. And, they actually did really, really well on TV, but it's not going to be last year. I do think you're going to see a dip.
I'm still interested. I will say the excitement level isn't the same, but I still want to watch the sky. I also want to see Asia Wilson, man. I really.
Now, if you would have said Asia Wilson, I would have. The more I watch, and maybe I'm being picky. The more I watch Angel Reese play, the more I'm like, I don't like to watch Angel Reese play. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
She's getting a little. What was that other league they played in, Rozzy?
The 3-on-3 or the
3-on-3?
No. Was it 3-on-3? But it was called something. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, no, it's not Big Three, but it's like the NBA version of that. Like, yeah,
she looked better, I guess.
Okay.
I don't like when you say "okay" like that.
Wilson,
it's like, well, I'll never know.
But she's definitely not option. Like, yeah.
You should, I'm trying to be open minded. I
actually want to see. I actually want to see Caitlin Clark grow and become even. I want her to be this. I want her to be one of the top stars in the league and be that adversary to Angel Reese in a competitive basketball way, not what America tried to make them.
Until Juju
I'm not gonna. I'm good. I'm let it go.
No. Say it.
To be a competitor,
wait on Juju and Flage too.
You need Magic and Bird. You need Magic and Bird before Jordan comes, and that I think is what.
Wait. First,
no.
Angel wasn't a bomb. Now she wasn't a bomb, bro. She was rebounding. She was making.
Go watch her rebounds. They were a lot of them. Yes, a lot of them from her self shots.
No, yes, but if you take every last one of those away, she still was the highest rebounding person in the league, even when you take out all of her self rebounds.
And I love her hustle too. And I'm not just saying that like this is she really is playing hard out there for somebody who can probably live off endorsements. She is not playing like somebody that has
I'm not here to judge Angel Reese.
If she played like Rodman, played like Rodman and dished the ball out instead of trying to take a lot of those shots, I think your complaints would probably go away, right? If she rebounding,
she played like Robin
and kicked it back out
and talked like Robin. She plays like Robin and talks like Jordan.
You think she talks like Jordan?
Well, she talks like she is better than what she is. Like you were saying, you want to see Caitlyn and her become rivals. I don't think she's on Caitlyn's level. Like I can see, if you're like, I can see Caitlyn becoming better, and she's starting to challenge Asia Wilson or something like that. She
is Caitlyn more skilled? Is Caitlyn more skilled? Yes, but can Angel Reese affect the game the same as Caitlyn can? I think the answer is yes, or just as much. When you look at her steals and her rebounding, and she gets a lot of easy, like a lot of putback layups, I think she can affect the game just as much as Caitlyn can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Caitlyn spreads the court.
Caitlyn is more skilled.
Yeah.
That's no doubt about that. But I'm saying as far as impact.
Okay.
They're two different positions, and it's hard to compare them when they're two different positions.
Yeah. He's not sold. But I do want to see Asia Wilson. I want to see Asia Wilson play this year.
Yeah.
Now, if Caitlyn can develop her, if Angel Reese can develop her game and become, I want to see that young lady be great. But I'm trying to. I want to support the WNBA. I want to see them do what they need to do. I don't even want to get into money conversation, but it is what it is. I want to give my kids a shout out. They had their MAP test this week. Do your kids do MAP tests, Rosie?
Yeah,
MAP testing.
yeah, yep. MAP
and
test. They did it 2 weeks
their
ago.
growth was phenomenal. They did really good in the fall. They compared them to spring, but both of them, based off of what I could tell, killed it, crushed it, and high 90 percentile on their tests so far. And just want to let them know that I'm proud of them. They keep doing what they're doing. They don't like it, but I push them, right? So I push them. Z and I push them to be great. We don't make them study. We make them do their things. TJ doesn't like to read, but he crushed it in reading. So his teacher called. It's funny, and I'll give a quick. It's funny because she calls me all the time, and we've talked about his. And I always want to highlight him too because when we had a challenge with him, I brought it up, and now that he's doing great, I bring that up as well. But his teacher calls me, and she always asks how I'm doing. I'm like, I don't know yet. Depends on what you say, And she always laughs. She's like, I know you were going to say that. I don't know yet. But she called, talked about his math grade, which he just crushed. And then she called super excited about his reading grade. So I think, and from my understanding, they expect whatever your level you start at is kind of the level you'll finish at. So if you start in, below average or average, they expect you to kind of maybe move from below average to average, but not average to high or whatever. So the growth expectation, I think, is anywhere between 5 to 17 points over the course of the year. And I think he was 20. His was 26-point growth in one, and 34, 35-point growth in the
Nice.
other.
Yeah. So he hit that stretch goal really, really good.
Yeah. So she's like, he crushed it. And he was bragging that he got the highest score in reading in his class. So, and Sky had a very similar one. She had her science, and she, I think she had like a 20-point growth number as well. So both of them, just super proud of them, high percentile, and just proud of their growth. It's not about the percentile, because sometimes you got to look at that thing, and we won everybody in the 80th, 90th percentiles, like realizing that anything over 51 means you're above average.
Above average. Yep.
Sometimes, yeah, we don't look at it that way. We look at it with the test scores. Grading scores. With that being said, Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I'm Ferg. See you guys next week. 6 rules of podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.